Okay, just wanted to get a little bit of footage of a really exciting project I've been working on. And I have been inspired by Bentley House Minis, Ara Bentley. I'm totally in awe of your abilities and style, and I have made my very own little coffin sofa, and I love it. If you want to see how to do this, you can go to her site, her channel, but I just wanted to share that I've been working on this, and then something exciting, still working on the cushion and the arms. I don't have any fabric to do this with yet, and I'm new to miniature making, so I'm really needing to work on my stash. So my idea is to go to the thrift store, and I'm hoping to find will be like a really awesome blood red color for my embroidery. Anyway, over here to the side, and I can bring it in, I've got a couple little things drying. I've been working on a candelabra to put on a table beside my couch. So this candelabra is made from paper and little wooden skewers. So just like the couch, it's made from paper and wooden skewers, and then these little metal beads. And this is going to be painted black in the end. And right now I am still working on, so I don't have any footage of me making this because I'm so new to it, but I can point out, let me grab a pointer. I have been, so this is a quilled coil of paper, and then I've coned it and glued it onto the wooden skewer, which the wooden skewer I did cut, scored in the middle, and made like a notch so that two pieces of wood could fit together. That's how I did that. And then I actually put a cone, another one of those quilled cones of paper on top of this skewer, the up and down skewer, and so that it would have sort of a turned look at the top. And then I had to use, it just kept getting all wiggly on me, so I actually used super glue to attach that, and I figure it may show in the end. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that the black paint will, you know, hide all my errors. And then I've been working on these super cool scrolled legs. I want it to look like an iron, you know, like an iron work, crazy over the top candelabra. So my goal is to get the 3 legs attached, and then I can still work on the little feet. I've glued 2 pieces of chipboard, and this is 3/8 inch wide. Is that right? Yeah, I think it's 3/8. It might be, it's either 1/4 or 3/8 inch wide. Let's just check. Yeah, it's 1/4 inch wide. So anyway, I can show how I did it because I've got some more of the board here. So I'll show how I did that, but I've got a little piece drying, and I set it up, which I thought was really handy, inside my tweezers. So it's just holding it in place. The glue is only on the paper, and the glue is not in contact with the tweezer. The tweezer is just holding it so I don't have to sit and hold it while it dries. And then I had the little candelabra. Only one of these legs is actually affixed permanently so far. This one here is still gluing, so I had it setting up against this bottle of glue again, so that I don't have to hold it while it dries. I just want it to dry in as close to up and down, you know, perfect level as possible. So you see how this little piece of paper is just being held in place, and then once the glue is dry on this, I'll cut this right here, and then I've taken, for further demonstration, I've taken a little round, that's what's 3/8, I think. It's a little round punch. I punched a hole out of the paper, then I punched a hole I used a larger punch, so I ended up with like a donut shape, and I glued it onto this skewer. And then I'm gluing these little legs beneath, so they're going to look like they're forged into place, you see. So that's what I'm working on, and I don't know what it's going to look like in the end. I plan to make a side table that this candelabra can set on. I'm trying to get that. I'm worried that my candelabra is not perfectly level, and it's hard with just 2 out of 3 legs to tell exactly what I'm going to end up with. I'm thinking I'll have to fiddle with the feet a little bit to get them right in the end, but luckily with this shape I'll be able to do that. And I've been using a little piece of skewer to bend it around. So anyhow, that's what I'm working on. And the side table that I plan to put next to my little couch is, I'm thinking just a rounded side table with maybe continuing with this quilled paper odyssey, making it look like sort of like how you make paper beads. I want to make the table look like it's got a round, like a turned piece of wood holding up a round tabletop. Okay, finally got all the words out. So that's where I'm going with this. Don't know where I'm really going to end up, but that's the plan anyhow. And like I said, I can show you how I had begun. Let me put this back in here to dry. I wanted to hold that curl as much as possible, so this is what I've done. Oh my gosh, everything's so fiddly. So I want to just kind of squeeze it in between, but you see that the tweezer is holding the little curl in place there as it cures further. So I don't know, that seems to at least let me let go of it and continue working on things. So that's why I went with that. So that piece is, with those little curls, I started with a 2-inch, two 2-inch lengths of this chipboard. Which is just from a food box, and I just cut them off. And then these, I was kind of training the paper with my hands like this, and just starting to give it a curl. That's what I mean by training the paper, sort of breaking those fibers down. I work a lot with paper, and that's why I was so enamored with Era's work with all the paper, because I have a lot of the tools. I've inclined toward tiny things anyway, and so there's sort of a transition going on with me and the work that I do. And like I said, I've been inspired. So I took a bone folder, and starting at the middle, because the curl, I want the curl to go one way on one end and the other way on the other end. So starting in the middle, I'm just curling it and giving it, you know, breaking those fibers like I said, and it's starting to give it some curl so that I don't have to work so hard to get it to keep the curl. And when I started doing this printed layer of the packaging paper came off easily, so I just went ahead and tore it off. And that's how I ended up using 2 pieces. So they're kind of laminated little pieces of those legs, and so it's actually been a bit of glue to get them to stay together. But I guess that's the process. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm experiencing. So once I had those, I've got the 2 pieces, then I'm going to take just some tacky glue, which I have in a tiny little applicator bottle. And the thing is, when it's already curved, it's easy to get it uneven, so just kept trying to line up the end and then just stick it together, really. And then while the glue is wet, oh, I said my fingers may have been off camera. So just sticking the two together with the glue. And then sometimes I don't get enough glue on the very end, so I'll add a little bit. And it's going to seep out and get on my fingers. It's been doing that. But anyway, while the glue is wet, I can feel the tackiness of the fact that the glue is wet. So what I've been doing, like I said, I used that little piece of skewer and started rolling the paper. And it starts to develop a curve that stays. Isn't that cool? So the layers are coming apart. You see how the layers do come apart, and as it starts to dry, if there's a gap, I've been adding extra glue. So basically I just fiddle with this long enough to where I get it to look the way I like. Like I said, I'm just after that curve right now, and then it's at this point I would add a slight amount of glue, and once I get it where I like it, that's when I was placing it on the tweezers, letting it get. Purposely want to stick that curl up against the edge of the tweezer. And if I just hold it for a couple seconds, the glue is continually drying. This whole time the glue is drying. So it'll quit trying to come undone more and more. And then once it quits popping out of there, I just put it down, let go, and let the glue and Mother Nature take over. And I'll wait and come back when that's dry, and then hopefully have something amazing to work with. Otherwise, start over. Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun on this Odyssey and look forward to finishing this super awesome thing. I'm working on the cardboard base for the cushion. That's the next thing I'm working on. Okay, I have good news. I've been working on the little table and the candelabra to go with the couch, and I've gotten a little insert cut here to embroider, which I don't have any fabric, like I said before, so I'll get to that. But today I was working on this little candelabra that I was showing you earlier. It's super cute. I've gotten all 3 legs onto it. Isn't it adorable? And I'm going to be able to paint it next. Anyway, I'll be able to fiddle with the legs and get them just right, and then basically cement them into place with glue and paint. And I'm happy with the overall shape of it. It's looking awesome. And then I have worked on this little guy right here. Is a table. It's not completely put together. I just took the paint and drew a circle, cut out 2 layers of the corrugated cardboard, and then attached those together, and then cut out a larger circle. I actually did not run it through the die cut, but I just traced this circle and cut out 2 layers, found the center, and then I used just an X-Acto knife to cut 1 layer. So there's a hole only in 1 layer of the cardboard. And I had done the same thing on this layer here, on the top layer here. This is the bottom of the lamp. Now the post, I'm sorry, it's a table, not a lamp. The post is a skewer stick, and then these 2 sections are made of paper. It's just paper quilled onto itself to make a large paper bead. And I rolled it around the skewer stick so it's exactly the right size. And I did practice. I've never made paper beads before. I mean, I understand the concept, but I practiced using some normal paper just torn out of a spiral notebook. And then what I've used here for the table is actually cardstock. So it was honestly easier to manipulate just because it was harder paper, stiffer paper to work with. So but I just wanted to explain what I had done. So I had made a larger one and a smaller one, and they've been glued onto the skewer stick. And then I put some of the gel super glue in the hole, and I actually had clamped it with a clamp and have the base setting on the surface here so that it would not tip over while I was gone having a meal. So the next step will be to attach the top of the table, hopefully get it even, and then I'll have to coat where the corrugation is and keep going, you know, end up with a painted table eventually. And this will sit next to my sofa, and I'll be able to put my little candelabra on top. So it's an awesome, really gives an awesome, I only have the overhead camera, so really gives an awesome view, awesome look. So I'll try to take some footage with my phone also once I get all this made. So anyway, on to the rest of the project. Okay, I have finished putting the little table together, and I just wanted to show you just a really cool little table. And this is those paper beads. Remember the 2 layers of cardboard on the top and bottom, and then I've used super glue, and I had clamped it, and there is a skewer in between. It's going to be super, super cute. And I have also I put some glue. I was looking for something to use as a pointer. Anyway, I put some glue on each of these edges to sort of seal those layers of chipboard. Remember, the layers were trying to separate on me. So I just put a little bit of tacky glue along the edge, and I had used this precision tip bottle to do it. So I had put that, and then also had put a couple more dots of glue under here at the seams where the edges come together, and also did more glue, little dots just on either edge of the spike, which those are tips of toothpicks. They were attached originally with super glue, but I actually knocked one off after it had dried, and so I think it needed to be reinforced. And I'm hoping that the acrylic paint that I plan to add will reinforce it even further. So I also went over each of the little creases. I tried to put the creases toward the center of these quilled cones of paper just to cover the very end of the piece of paper so that is disguised. Once it's painted, you won't know that it was paper. So just really neat, you know. I'm loving it. I can look for some of those super skinny birthday candles I've seen at the store. I'm hoping, I've seen them at the grocery store, but I've also seen them at the bookstore, so I'm hoping to find some of those today when I go out. So we'll see. Hopefully, if I remember to look for them. So it's going to be a worthwhile investment. Actually, I might have some. I'm going to look in a drawer before I go buy anything, because I think I might have some left over. I don't know. I can't remember what I've got on hand. Anyway, I have put some handles, but because the beads I chose are silver, I wanted the handles to be silver to match, but I could not get them to match. That was an exercise in futility and absolute frustration. So I ended up giving up on the match, and I was getting so many layers of paint that I was starting to lose definition, I felt like, and that was proven to me when I actually did paint on the black. But I decided to go with it because in that state of frustration, I was just starting to tear my hair out. I did not want to make new ones, new handles, although I could have, but I didn't. And I'm still trying to upholster the bench. So I've had an exciting development. I did go to the Goodwill and I found, check it out. This is going to be a perfect fabric for my couch. So I'm going to set about upholstering the cushion and we'll see what we get. Okay, I have an exciting update. I did get the couch upholstered and I did use that necktie that I bought at Goodwill. And then another exciting addition that I made to this is I added some trim. I'm going to grab a pointer so I can show you. I added some little beadwork trim to the arm. I did not upholster the arms and make them look like bolster pillows. I wanted my vampire couch to be unique. So even though I was using Era's pattern basically, and just from watching her video, I mean, and then anyway, I strung these little seed beads onto a thread and tied them off. And then I had added the paper just the way she did to make the rolled arm, but I super glued this string on and it was very difficult. I did add it here at the curve first and then let that dry completely. And then I started, I held them in place and I put a little bit of glue. Let's see, maybe a black pointer isn't the best choice here. Put a little bit of glue back here on this edge. Just tiny dabs of super glue. I did not want this to come undone. And then I attached here, let's see if I can get it in the camera shot. Right here with glue again. And I mean, if you look up close, you can see it. I don't know. But this is my first try ever making anything like this, so I'm really happy with it. And I did do one on the second side. I've considered putting one at the back, but I decided not to. I just decided to go with the front edge. It was getting so close to Halloween and I wanted to finish this. And then, excitingly, I'll lay it on its side so it shows I only have the top camera. And then I did paint the little candelabra and I love it so much, as I said. And then I painted the table. This is the table in the end. I used those paper beads like I pointed out and then the skewer in between. I painted this with the black, just a black glossy ink. Black glossy paint, acrylic paint. And then I did cut a layer of chipboard for the top, the tabletop, because the corrugated cardboard little valleys were showing, and I can see it showing in the camera there just slightly also. That's interesting. Anyhow, I wasn't getting enough shine with this glue, so I actually added one layer of Mod Podge to the top of this to get the final satiny. It's satin, it's not as glossy, but I was trying to cover up, there was these brush marks. And then I felt like the table was kind of plain, so as I was painting it, I had decided I added these are just little drops of tacky glue, and then I let them dry with the table setting upright, so gravity held the glue down, and I ended up with these little beads. And then after they dried, I did go over them a second time to get them to be this this large. Anyway, I'm happy with them. They're not completely clear, but they look cool. You know, they look like little gems or something. So I can get the camera to focus. Yeah. So they're really neat. And then as I was painting this table, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there was a bat hanging under the table or something, you know, something vampire-y. I didn't know, you know, and then I came up with my idea for my second table. So I made a second table, and it does have the tabletop the same way as that other table. Get it in the view. But I put a foot on the bottom of it. So this is actually a finger puppet for a dinosaur, and I've used some in some of my other videos, but I don't use the back legs, and this is one of the back legs, and so I was so happy the way this came out. I coated it first because it's just a painted plastic. I've got one to show that's not painted. I can show you what I started with. So this was like this before, and I coated it, I cut it off here. You see how the tabletop would be extremely skewed. So I cut it straight as possible, and actually thought I need a tiny level here on in the desk, and I don't have that yet, but I'll probably get that. But and then I painted it. Once I glued, so I ran a bead of glue of super glue and attached the tabletop, and with a weight. Once that dried, I ran a bead of super glue all around the edge, and I mean a sizable bead, and then it dried completely, and that took quite a while. And I dried this with a weight. I actually just I've got this pack of wooden sticks, so I just had laid these on it while it dried, upside down. And it's set, it's kind of weird. It's like a sea table for a vampire. So, you know, if he's got any work to do on his laptop, I guess he'll be able to do it. So, anyway, then once that was dry and adhered together, I painted the whole thing with the combination of Elmer's PVA glue and the joint compound that Ara used. I've been working also on some of the cardboard house elements, so that's where I learned to use that. And then once that was dry, coated it in that same glossy acrylic paint, and I did put a layer of the Mod Podge on top of this. And this does also have that layer of chipboard on top of the corrugated cardboard. So it's 2 layers of cardboard and a dinosaur foot, and you can have a table this amazing as well. So I'm really happy with my little pieces. I'm not going to do any more work on them this year because it's already November. So I'm thinking after the Christmas holiday, I don't know what will come, but I might try to make a small diorama or something. I don't know. And I never did get the little candles to see. I don't have any. I did check that, but I did not try to go buy any yet. So just having fun making some really amazing little art pieces, and I could not be more excited with this new venture of mine.